you said as long as you see something other than yourself, and that's how you think of it, you are still living in duality. I work, in quotes, I work at staying in non-duality as much as I can. It's an endless task. There are 1,000 things I have to be aware of. But for example, I do something really that goes against my grain of my nature. I don't thank God anymore for anything. I don't express my gratitude anymore to God for anything. Why would I? Why would a God be outside of myself who would be the object or the receiver of my thanks? I don't pray anymore as I was raised as a good little Catholic kid, to fervently rethink of my prayers going through intercessory saints or through Jesus or to the ultimate God Almighty. Is it practical at all? That's my question, to work on non-duality in this manner, or is it just too much of an impossible job for many of us right now?
Non-duality is the state in which we are aware of ourself alone. So the practice of non-duality is attending to ourself. To the extent to which we attend to ourself, we are thereby withdrawing ourselves from the appearance of duality back into the reality of non-duality. Regarding God, having come to Bhagavan's path, we should go beyond the idea that God is another. God is not another. God is our own reality. God is that which is shining in our heart as I. The pure I divested of adjuncts, is God. As Bhagavan says in verses 24 and 25 of Upadeshundya, by existing nature, God and soul are just one substance. The adjunct awareness alone is different. Adjunct awareness means we now are aware of ourselves as I am this body. That is what he refers to as adjunct awareness. That is what creates all the differences. So he then says in the next verse, knowing oneself without adjuncts is knowing God, because God always shines as oneself. So we need to go beyond this idea that God is some other. God can never, how can God be another? The others exist in the view, if God is another, we're making him into an object. How can God be an object? God is the reality of the subject. All objects appear only in the view of the subject, namely ego. The reality of ego is God. So God is what we actually are. So the greatest prayer to God is to turn back within and silently meditate on him in our heart as ourself.
So you're meditating on self.
Yes, that's what Bhagavan says in verse 8 of Upadeshundya. Rather than anya, anya means what is other, ananya means what is not other. So rather than anya bhava, that means rather than meditating on God as something, God is not mentioned there but implied, rather than meditating on God as something other than yourself, ananya bhava, meditation on nothing other than oneself. That implies meditation on God as nothing other than oneself, with the understanding he is I. That is anatanam uttamam. That is the best among all.
Perfect.